Good morning and welcome into the Lifeline Morning Show. I'm Steven. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. You know, I love getting your day started off on the right foot. And to help with that, I use an inspiring quote. Today's, it speaks volumes. Alfred Adler said this: "The chief danger in life is that you may take too many precautions." Wow, I've noticed this just recently. But first, let's talk about those precautions. You know what? Sometimes we can try to make sure that we are so safe before we start a particular thing. We want to make sure that we don't fail. So we set things up in advance. We set ourselves up for success. That's the way it's usually said, right? But what we don't know is lots of times when we take those precautions, we're keeping ourselves from being able to effectively do the thing fully and completely. I noticed this recently at a skating rink. You know, at the skating rinks, they have these little PVC walker-looking things, right? There's a little brace that you can hold on to, that these new skaters can hold on to. They got wheels on the bottom. They get out there on the rink floor, and they start scooting along, and they're leaning all their weight on that walker. And it's a completely different sensation from actually balancing your own body weight and finding your center of gravity and propelling yourself forward. You see, they're learning how to scoot a walker across a floor. Whereas when you actually skate, you're just in control of yourself, keeping yourself balanced, and then the freedom that comes from that, being able to move about as you want to. That's where the fun comes in when it comes to skating. And I noticed so many kids, they are just getting it out there on the floor, holding onto that walker hunched over, and they look like an old person actually walking around with the walker, but they're on the skating rink floor. And it's like, come on, guys, let's ditch the walker. I'll stand beside you just in case you need to catch me so I can hold you up. But let's get you finding your center of balance. Let's get you being a little more free out here on the floor. And that brings about a lot of freedom, doesn't it? When you learn how to do the thing. Let's talk about the other aspect of it too, because the whole reason why we put the safeguards in place is because of that battle between the ears. What are we trying to avoid? We're trying to avoid failure. We're trying to avoid falling. But what happens when all you think about is falling? You fall. What happens when all you look for in life is the negative stuff? You find it. You know what I mean? So, I think maybe take this one to heart today. The chief danger in life is that you may take too many precautions. You don't have to. Why? Because God's got you. He's with you every step of the way. You can trust Him to keep you safe. Now go do that thing. And you know, I'm not saying throw caution to the wind. I'm just saying, let's be a little more realistic. Let's go for it today. Let's have confidence that God's going to see us through. Sound good? Thank you for being here. So yesterday I had this idea. I thought, okay, let's take it all the way back to the basics. Why do I like listening to Christian radio? Why do I like it? As a guy who sits in a studio and plays it for you every day. And I came up with a list of reasons why. I even asked my wife, why do you like listening to Christian radio? And I jotted down her responses as well. And I wonder if they line up with why you listen. Stick around. Let's talk about it after elevation worship and praise. Sometimes I think it's so imperative that we take things all the way back to the basics. You know what I mean? Because so many times we kind of take things for granted. We kind of are like, well, that's the way it's always been. That's just the way it is. And we kind of look past it. But I like going back and remembering why I like the thing, why I enjoy doing this. And so yesterday, I came up with just a quick little survey. I asked my wife, I asked myself, and basically the question is, why do you like Christian radio? And I asked my wife, and she said, well, I like that it's not just the church music that I grew up with. You see, she grew up in a Methodist church where the majority of church music was Redback or Heavenly Highways hymns, right? And there's nothing wrong with hymns at all. She said, but then I met you, Stephen, and you were listening to all this other Christian music. She said, I love that it's different from what I was hearing at my church. And she says, I like kind of the alternative rock style that it has too. That's kind of what she was into when she was younger. She says, I like it because it's inspirational. It touches my heart. It inspires me to do better. It builds my heart up. And there's no guilt factor of me listening to the music. The music's built around God, something He would be proud of me listening to. And I thought, well, those are amazing answers. You ever wondered why you like listening to Christian radio? Here's what I came up with. It helps me connect to God. It reminds me of the hope that I have in Him. It inspires me to look for the good and to be the good in the world. And I love the quirkiness and the fun that radio personalities can have on the air, the kind of creative flavor that they can bring to the radio station. It's not just about the music, it's also about between the music for me. And I love the partnership that a station can have with local organizations to help the community. I absolutely love the whole sense, the idea of community when it comes to Christian radio. So those are just some of the reasons why I and my wife like it so much. I wonder, why do you like Christian radio so much? Why do you enjoy listening? Oh, I'd love to hear from you. You want to send me an email or DM me on any of the socials and let me know just that. If you want to send me an email, send it to Steven@885jfm.com. I want to know why you like listening to Christian radio. Yeah. Or any of our socials, go on over there and DM me. Let me know, hey, Steven, this is why I like it. Now, it's one thing to talk about why we like it as listeners, right? Or me as I like it from a perspective of getting to play it for you and being involved in it every day. But how about the artists? What about them? Why do they enjoy the music so much? Why do they put pen to paper? Why do they go into a practice room with a guitar and jot down melodies and get these tunes just right and play it? Why do they put it out there? Well, I came across Rita Springer. You might not know that name. Some of you might, but Rita's been involved with Christian music for a very long time. In fact, she writes a lot of songs that she doesn't sing on our station. One in particular, I believe she wrote, is called Defender. Francesca Battistelli released it. I'm getting ready to play it for you because what she has to say is so profound, and I want you to hear it. So this is what Rita had to say about Christian music and about Christian radio. Take a listen.
I think that when it comes down to it, in our anguish and our grief, what we really just want is to be heard. Like, I really just want to be heard from the Lord. I want the Lord to hear it. We, I think, cry out because we want to see the reward or the end result in what we're asking for. But think about so many characters in Scripture that the release didn't come in the having of the reward. The release actually came in the knowing that they were heard. And I think that's so encouraging for many of us who question and can call out on the Lord and say, I'm standing in the desert shaking my fist. Is God still good? I think He is.
I love that explanation. And here's that song. It's Francesca Battistelli with Defender. Lots of times we only associate a song with the person who sings it. That was Francesca Battistelli singing that song, but Stephanie Gretzinger and Rita Springer, along with John Paul Gentle, actually wrote that. And Rita, who we just heard from, talking about why she writes this kind of music, what the point is for her. And I think it's so important that we know what's going through the artists' minds when they write these songs, and it helps us appreciate it even more. So thanks for letting me geek out a little bit and learning just a little bit more about the music. All right, well, it's time for your weather and your word of life and to hear from a few ministry and business impact partners. Thank you so much for making us part of your day. I have this mental image of this scene playing out in my head, right? It's somebody looking over at one of those thermometers. It's hanging on the wall. Points over and says, how low can you go? Can you go down low? All the way to the flow? Because right now, it's cold outside. It's 31 in Gunnersville. It's 27 in Huntsville. Let's go lower. 26 in Arab. Lower. 25 in Boaz right now. Oh my, we've got a ways to go. This first day of spring needs to get its act together, doesn't it? I'm sure it'll happen. Might take a little time, though. Your word of life today comes to you from Romans chapter 1, verse 16 in the New Living Translation of the Bible. For I am not ashamed of this good news about Christ. It is the power of God at work, saving everyone who believes, the Jew first and also the Gentile. I'm so thankful for that. How about you? Hey, why don't you share that word of life with somebody? Tell them what it means to you. We've got it ready for you across all of our socials, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, X, and TikTok. And it's always at the top of our website, 885jfm.com. Good morning, Joel Modis. I see you hanging out with us in Palm Coast, Florida. Thanks for being here, man. All right, we've also got some listeners right here in Gunnersville. We've got Reno County, Kansas on board with us, and our friends all the way over in Helsinki, Finland. Thank you for being here. And hey, I'd love to shout you out by name, so send me an email, Steven at 885jfm.com. Let me know your name, where you're listening to us from, and I want to shout you out live here on the radio, okay? Thank you for that. Steven at 885jfm.com. I'm always looking for ways to improve. How about you? And you know, here at the station, it's our slogan, making your day better. And in an effort to do that, I want to share a little bit of a life hack with you. This is from JP. He's got a pretty cool idea here, and I think that if you adopt it, it's going to make your day just a little bit smoother. Take a listen.
There's one thing in life which is so powerful it should be a law of nature, and it's friction. Like these two bits of sandpaper, absolute friction, they're going nowhere. What's interesting with this is that you have it in your life as well, friction, and the more friction you have during a day, the slower the day will go and the more frustrating it'll be. So my advice to you is this: sit down with a piece of paper, write down stuff where you can remove it. I call this baby oiling your life. Have a look at, hey, if you do this in the morning instead of the evening, that will create less friction. If you prepare this for dinner the evening before, there will be less friction. If you do this assignment with these at the same time, there will be less friction. If you call this person, there will be less friction. If you start with the hardest task first instead of at the end, there'll be less friction, and so on. Do this plan. It's got such power over the flow in your life. It is so powerful to do this exercise.
I came across a scripture, and I'm sure you've read it too, but in it, Jesus is not telling us to be slow to listen and quick to get angry. It's just the opposite, right? But we do it so often. We're so quick to jump to conclusions without really fully understanding a situation, aren't we? So I got a story about that coming up from a teacher. His name is Mr. Ike, and he's got quite a few stories. I share them here quite often, but this one in particular is really going to get your attention. And it has nothing to do with school. This is out at a Best Buy of all places. And let's just say that one guy thinks these kids are just plain punks. That's the term he used, actually. Stick around and let's hear just how much of a punk they really are, shall we? It's going to challenge some perspectives. But first, Josh Baldwin and Jen Johnson with Made for More.
Hello, my name is Matt. I'm a teacher, and today I'm going to tell you the story called A Couple of Punks. I was at Best Buy trying to find a cord I needed for my computer when two kids sprinted past me right to the video game section.
Dude, they have the new FIFA soccer demo!
The boys were loud. They weren't doing anything wrong necessarily, but their energy was bursting right off the top of their head. As they continued to play, I got in line behind a guy who was purchasing perhaps the biggest TV I'd ever seen, and he wanted to tell me about it. I've been saving up for this thing for a long. He couldn't focus on his sentence because he was too distracted by the two kids who were playing video games, and he let me know what he thought about them. You know, it's too bad they let a couple of punks come in here and mess around. Don't they have something better to do? I think as we get older, there's a tendency to look for cracks in situations of what is wrong or what could be better. And we may find some, but we can't let the depths of those cracks overshadow the light that's coming from other places, because sometimes that light might come from the very place you thought was a crack all along. By the time I finished my purchase and went outside, the man and an employee were struggling to get that big TV in the back of the truck. And I was going to go help them, but I bet you can guess who beat me to it. The two boys zipped past me, helped load the TV, waved goodbye, and then playfully punched each other as they ran off to another store, where I hope they were seen as just two kids and not just a couple of punks.
I've got a good feeling somebody's going to be winning some gift cards very soon. Is it going to be you? The Carline competition starts next. Get your fingers ready to dial my digits. Say it with me in 3, 2, 1. Give me the horn. All right, now let's go ahead and crank that engine and let's start that music so I can say, hey, everybody, it's time to play the Carline competition. Your chance to win some gift cards. How many, Steven? 3. 1 to Gunnersville Chick-fil-A, 1 to Albertville Home Bakery, 1 to the Caring Heart Thrift Store in Arab, and it's all about this trivia. Oh yeah, I'm going to ask a question, give you the cue to call. You call me up, give me the right answer, and guess what? You win 3 gift cards, 1 to keep, 2 to give away. I'll even ask you, who you going to give those other 2 to so you can share some love right here on the radio. Don't be nervous. I don't take the phone calls live. I edit them down, make you sound like a rock star on the radio. Now let's get started. The first question of today's car line competition. What is the layer of atmosphere immediately above the Earth's surface called? Is it the troposphere, the mesosphere, the stratosphere, or the thermosphere? 256-505-0885 is a number to call. Again, what's the layer of atmosphere immediately above the Earth's surface called? Is it the troposphere, the mesosphere, the stratosphere, or the thermosphere? My goodness, I've already got a caller. Stay on the phone line with me while I start this next song, and I'll get your answer. How about some more Austin French with God is Good right here on the Lifeline Morning Show? Hey, good morning.
Good morning!
Who am I talking
I've
to?
got a good feeling. Woo!
Yeah.
Kicking me out of my chair. It's so good.
It's a good song, isn't it?
It's a good song. Good morning, Steven.
Good morning, K. Dean.
Top of the morning to you,
Oh
mate. How
my,
are you?
I'm doing great. So you got through St. Patty's Day. Did you get pinched? You remember to wear green, right?
No, I didn't. I didn't. I remembered it. I got pinched. My husband pinched me, but yeah, that was about it.
Okay, I got you.
That was about it.
You want to have some fun?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm ready.
So, what's the layer of atmosphere immediately above the Earth's surface called? Is it the troposphere, the mesosphere, the stratosphere, or the thermosphere?
I believe it is the stratosphere.
Oh, Kadeen.
Yeah.
You got to remember, this is directly above the Earth's surface.
No idea.
So, I'll give you one more shot, okay?
Okay.
All right, here we go. Is it the troposphere, the mesosphere, or the thermosphere?
Thermosphere.
Oh, no! Wow, Kadeen, I'm so sorry. You didn't get it this time.
Man, okay. But that means that I give a chance to somebody else to get it.
Yeah, somebody's got a 50-50 shot. Kadeen, I think you rock. Thank you so much for being so bubbly this morning and playing my game.
Thank you for being you.
Oh, thank you.
Have a great one, Steven.
You too.
God bless.
God bless you. Bye.
Bye.
Wow, Kadeen, such a good sport. I love hearing from her. She's just so happy in the mornings. Well, hey, I got this question right here. You got a 50-50 shot, so let's do this. What's the layer of atmosphere immediately above the Earth's surface called? Is it the troposphere or the mesosphere? 256-505-0885 is the number to call. Again, the atmosphere immediately above the Earth's surface. Is it called the troposphere or the mesosphere? 256-505-0885 is the number to call. 50-50 shot for you. 256-505-0885. There's my caller. 88.5 JFM. Good morning.
Good morning,
What's your name?
Teresa.
Teresa. All right, Teresa. What are you up to today?
I'm getting ready to go to work
Okay. All right. Remind us, where do you work at?
at Mike's Merchandise.
Mike's Merchandise. Awesome.
Yes.
All right. Y'all have all kinds of stuff over there.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and the bin store.
Yeah. So y'all are doing the bins now, too.
Yes, and we also have cushions now, outdoor patio furniture cushions that we've set up a section for, so it's huge.
Ooh la la. Very nice. All right. So we'll get a little insider knowledge on what we can find over at Mike's. But what is the layer of atmosphere immediately above the Earth's surface called? Is it the troposphere or the mesosphere?
The troposphere.
The troposphere is correct. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
3 gift cards. You're very welcome. So the way this works, we want you to keep one, give the other 2 away to 2 very special people. Can you tell me about those 2 people?
My mother, love her dearly, and my daughter,
Oh,
Jessica.
Very cool.
My daughter, yes, I miss them. They live in Anniston, so yeah.
Okay, not too far, but just far enough to not be able to be around all the time, right?
Right.
I got you. So tell me something special about that mama of yours.
She's wonderful. She's been through a lot, and she's just such a God-fearing, beautiful woman.
Now, would you tell me, what's the one thing you're most proud about in that daughter of yours?
Oh, my gosh. Her accomplishments in her real estate. She's always dreamed of being a real estate agent, and so, yes, she is now a real estate agent.
That is awesome.
Proud of her. Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing the love here on the radio. Let me grab your address, and I'll get these gift cards sent your way.
Okay.
Very good. I'll get these gift cards sent your way. Hey, one last question.
Yes.
Why do you listen to this radio station?
Because I love it. I love the worship. I love music, and it has the best worship music on there.
Oh, thank you so much. We are just
You're
trying
welcome.
to make your day a little bit better. Are we doing an okay job?
You're doing an awesome job. Sharing the love. I love it.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. How much fun was that? Thanks again, Teresa, for calling me this morning. And I think it's so cool you work at Mike's Merchandise. I love going to that store because there's all kinds of cheap stuff in there, right? And this economy, cheap is best. In fact, I want to put out a little programming reminder for everybody. At 8 o'clock this morning, we are going to be joined by a very special guest. Matt Arnold, the president and CEO of Marshall County Economic Development Council, is going to be here talking with us a little bit about shrink, about inflation, about this thing called surge pricing you've probably seen in the news recently. He's going to kind of spell it all out for us and even give us an update as to what's going on around our area economically. What kind of big projects are coming up? What will you be seeing as you drive past these big businesses? Well, he's going to fill us in on all those details. Again, that's coming up at 8 o'clock. It'll be live here on the radio and on our socials, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at the same time. So you can check it out there. And of course, it'll be on the stream, 885jfm.com. Click that on now button, press play, you're good to go. Enough about that, Steven. Let's get back to the game. Okay, let's do it. The caribou belongs to which family? Moose, buffalo, bison, or reindeer? 256-505-0885 is the number to call. Again, the caribou belongs to which family? Is it the moose family, the buffalo family, the bison family, or the reindeer family? 256-505-0885 is the number to call. And while I'm waiting on your call, I think I'll go ahead and tell you that last question, the troposphere. Yep, that starts at the Earth's surface and extends 8 to 14.5 kilometers high. That's 5 to 9 miles high. This part of the atmosphere is the most dense. Almost all weather is in this region, and the stratosphere, now, it starts just above the troposphere and extends to 31 miles high. So we're learning something new every day around here on the Carline Competition. But my most recent question is, the caribou belongs to which family? Is it the moose family, the buffalo family, the bison family, or the reindeer family? 256-505-0885 is a number to call for 3 gift cards. Well, no calls on this last question, so I guess let's take it on down to a 50-50 shot, shall we? Okay, so the caribou belongs to which family? All right, is it the buffalo family or the reindeer family? 256-505-0885 is the number to call. Waiting on your call right now. Again, the caribou belongs to which family? Is it the buffalo family or the reindeer family? 256-505-0885 is the number to call. And while I wait on that call, here's a little something from our business and ministry impact partners. 88.5 JFM, good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, Cassie, what's up?
I was just calling to answer your question.
All right, very good. Well, we're talking about caribou, and it's a 50-50 shot, and you're a teacher, so you better get this right. If not, you're not going to live this down.
I may get it wrong because I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I can be your phone a friend, so let's try this thing. The caribou belongs to which family? Is it the buffalo family or the reindeer family?
Okay, so caribou kind of looks like reindeer in a sense.
This is true.
Very similar, so I'm going to go with reindeer.
Are you sure? Is that your final answer?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, well, congratulations, you just won.
Oh, yay. Well, good.
I had to make you second guess yourself. I wouldn't be a good husband if I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
I'm playing.
That's
I'm
true.
totally playing. Sometimes I think that's just my love language. It's how I express love, through aggravation and through annoyance. I know you don't like it, right?
No, not at all. I get so tired of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, it couldn't have been buffalo because we both know what kind of experience I've had with a buffalo before.
Why don't you share that experience?
Okay, well, let's do it. We had gone to this little place called Harmony Safari Park, or Harmony Park Safari. Yeah. I never knew how to say it right. Yeah. Anyway, in this place, they give you these cups of food. And you go and you get in your car and you roll the windows down and you drive out in this pasture in a circle, and all these animals come up to your window and you get to feed them. Except one of these animals just happens to be a buffalo. And I don't know if anybody realizes just how big a buffalo's head is. But that thing, once he got his head inside my window, I could not get it out of the window, and he was sniffing, and he found the cup of food that was in my lap, and he just went to town. And I got this big, slobbery, wet-nosed buffalo eating food out of my lap, and I can't get him out of the car. It was very, what's a good word to use for that? It was traumatic.
It was very traumatic for you, but Grace and I are literally laughing our butts off because you are absolutely having a come apart. And I'm like, just move. And you're like, I can't. It's a buffalo. It's in my lap.
Oh, wow.
So if I had videoed a lot that day, but if I had videoed that, I know that we would have won. Like, you know, like AFB or
America's Funniest Home Videos.
We would have won because of how you were responding. It was so funny.
We probably would have won some money, like some big time money.
Oh yeah, definitely. I know we would have, and I wish that I would have gotten it on video.
Yeah.
Oh, do I ever? That way we could have shared it with the world so that other people could laugh at you as much as I have.
Yeah. Wow. I wish that place was still open. That was a fun place to go.
It was.
Yeah.
It was really fun. I'm hoping maybe that there's some other places that maybe will open this summer that kind of are like that maybe.
Yeah. Oh, what's that Big Cat place that we went to? We really enjoyed that too. Remember that one?
Tigers for Tomorrow.
Yeah,
it was absolutely, it was great.
Yeah.
It was really fun. I mean, it's not just different, you know, cats and lions and tigers, but also bears and different animals. It was really cool too. We need to go back.
Wolves and all kinds of stuff there.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was really neat.
But I can't get off of here without saying just how much you cringe whenever we went to the Harmony Safari Park and you were in the reptile room. All the slithery, creepy crawlies.
Yeah, I would break out in a sweat just thinking about it.
Yep.
I hate that was not a fun place for me to be.
I got you.
At all.
Well, speaking of fun places for you to be, you're about to be at one of them at your school. What you got coming up today? Anything big?
No, nothing big. We have, being a special ed teacher, I have IEP meetings coming up, so I've been writing lots of IEPs, and then we have ACAP testing in April, and I hold IEP meetings in April and May. We don't have that long, parents, till the end of the school year. It's coming by in a hurry. I told Grace today that I said 4 to 9 weeks starts today for you, and I said, so make sure we just got to make sure we're studying, we're making good grades, and we're focusing, and she's been AB honor roll all year, so that's amazing, and I'm super proud of her.
Yes, for sure.
She has struggled in math this year, but she has stuck with it.
Yes, she has.
Has improved and gotten better, so.
Yep, she's working on her 12's timetables right now, so I think she's doing pretty good with them.
I think so too.
Yep.
I do. So I'm going to pass all those on.
Okay.
And I'm going to call out my mom today because today is her birthday. So happy birthday to my mama. I am extremely thankful for her, and she is a blessing and doesn't even know how much she is a blessing to our family. And just love her, and then I hope that, that she has a great birthday today.
Yeah, me too. Awesome. All right. Happy birthday to Marcia. All right, babe.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for calling. Have a great day, and I will see you after the varsity later today.
All right. Sounds good. Love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye. All right, Cassie getting the train rolling through here. So tomorrow morning we'll start off with 6 gift cards instead of 3, thanks to Cassie. And yeah, big happy birthday to Marcia this morning. Hope she has a wonderful day. And you know what? We've got a lot of show left here, so why don't you stick around? We got some stuff to talk about, especially coming up at 8 o'clock. Matt Arnold, he is the president and CEO with Marshall County Economic Development Council. He's going to be here at 8 o'clock talking with us about a few terms you probably heard thrown around a lot here lately. I don't know, like inflation and how about shrink? Or this one's really been top of mind here lately. It's a little something called surge pricing. What is it? How does it work? He's going to help us with with all those details coming up at 8 o'clock, not only live on the radio, but also on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter over on the socials at the same time. And, of course, on the stream. So make sure you're here at 8 o'clock, all right? Well, top of the morning to you. Hope you're having a great day so far. Thank you so much for hanging out with us right here on the Lifeline Morning Show. Having an absolute blast this morning. So far, I mean, we've had quite the time with the car line competition, as we do every day. But hey, right now, I wanted to remind you that every now and then I get to bring some pretty amazing people into the studio. And just so happens, this guy is from our neck of the woods. Yeah, Matt Arnold, he is the president and CEO of the Marshall County Economic Development Council. And I always love bringing him in here to talk with us a little bit about the economy, about the things that we're seeing. And here recently, I've been noticing a few terms kind of being used a whole lot. One of them in particular is getting a whole lot of heat these days. The others, of course, inflation. You hear about that all the time. In fact, when Matt was in last time, he talked with us a little bit about disinflation, kind of spelled that out for us. But today we're talking a little bit about shrink. What exactly is that? We're talking about this other term, the hot button topic, surge pricing. So, yeah, Matt, I'm so happy that you're here in the studio with me today. How you doing, man?
Doing great, brother.
Good. So glad to hear it. So when I reached out to you and told you a little bit about what I was seeing, you were kind of able to tell me a little bit about what it all goes back to. And this whole thing with surge pricing, you said it really goes back to the whole thing about supply and demand. It has a lot to do with that. So can we start with that topic this morning?
Yeah, I mean, surge pricing is essentially the result of supply and demand. And I mean, the basics of supply and demand, I mean, this is what you learn in high school economics. If they teach that in high school anymore, I don't know. But it's when the supply is down and or the demand is up, that's when prices rise. And or vice versa. If the supply is great, and the demand is down, prices fall. Mm-hmm. Probably the most poignant example of that was in 2020 during the pandemic, during COVID, when no one was driving, but yet we had a great supply of petroleum in this country. And another factor at play there was, at the time, we were self-sufficient in our production of petroleum. That is no longer the case for various political reasons. We won't get into that, but anyway, the supply was up, but all of a sudden the demand was way down. And what did we see? We saw gasoline prices at the pump fall to levels I hadn't seen since college. Yeah, I mean, it was uncanny, and it's like, well, I want to buy all this gas to go places and do things.
Stockpile this stuff. Get it while it's cheap.
Yeah. Let me go put in a big gas tank or something in my backyard. But you know, it just sat there, and so that's basically surge pricing. Another example, and to stick with petroleum, to stick with gasoline prices, is why do we always see gas prices rise during the summer, during the summer months? Because people are traveling. Yeah. Kids are out of school. People are going to the beach. They're going on vacation. They're driving. And they're driving more than they do in the winter. There's other reasons for it, too, because of fuel cleanliness. They add a different mixture to the gasoline that keeps the keeps it burn cleaner. I don't know. And that varies from state to state. Right. Which is why you go to, say, California, and gas prices are twice what they are here, or even more, because of all the additives they require. But the essential thing is that in the summertime, people are driving more, and the supply remains the same, so the demand is greater and prices rise. And that's essentially surge pricing. Now, it can be seasonal like that. It can be drastic, like we saw in 2020, or it can be predatory. You see companies getting in trouble. There was a business here in Marshall County that got in a little trouble in 2011 after the tornadoes because they raised prices on generators. Yeah, and that's illegal in Alabama. Some states don't care, but in Alabama, that's illegal. And so companies can get, but so that's also considered surge pricing,
Right.
But it's not the normal surge pricing like we see that's typically seasonal,
Right.
where things become more expensive because at a certain time of year, more people are using them and there's
Yeah.
greater demand.
And that's something that we've become accustomed to. We've become
Sure.
comfortable with this kind of surge pricing if it's over the long term. But we're talking about now, I saw where one major like fast food chain is embracing this whole idea of using surge pricing on a daily basis.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
So we're talking about your burger possibly costing more at certain times and less at other times, which is great on the less side, but on the more side,
Yeah. Who wants to eat a burger at 2
my
o'clock?
goodness. Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't know where we're going with that. That's very unusual. But I think what it is businesses are just trying to respond to this notion of inflation and what their prices, how their prices are rising. But because I mean, you're seeing retailers, file for bankruptcy. I saw on the Wall Street Journal a major retailer. I don't think we have any around here, but Joann. It's a women's fashion store. They're filing for bankruptcy. And apparently, they were really big, in larger cities. I guess I don't know. I've never seen one. I don't think.
Yeah.
But I saw yesterday that in the Wall Street Journal they're filing for bankruptcy. So the businesses are trying to respond as best they can.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why we're seeing this with certain fast food chains. I know it's been really tough. I mean, I go to McDonald's just about every morning for an Egg McMuffin. And it's gone. It's almost $1 more than it was, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
That's affecting everybody. And inflation's part of reality. It's part of life. It's part of the economy, a capital economy, capitalistic economy. But it's like too much too soon.
Right.
And that's what people are frustrated by. And in some cases we've done it to ourselves. In some cases it was natural evolution and was bound to happen.
Yeah.
In the economy. And I mean, you look at things that were, you look at old Sears catalogs from the 1890s and you see, you could buy a house for $700.
Right.
They would ship you a house.
Yeah.
You put it together yourself. Now, I mean, just in my lifetime, my adult lifetime, my first house was $60,000 and it was a 3-bedroom house.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to live in a $60,000 house now.
Right.
I mean, you really wouldn't if you could even find one.
I bet you that same house would be in the 200 range, 220 and up. Right?
Easily. Somebody was asking me the other day if I had noticed all of these quote unquote RV parks popping up all over the place.
Yeah, I mean little bitty ones
Yeah,
too, like
yeah.
no amenities. You've
Yeah.
got a few places for hookups. That's it.
And they're in places that are not, touristy that
Right.
people would get. Oh, we're going to take the RV out this weekend and we're going to go stay in
Right.
Asbury or
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
No, there are people that are living there because that's the cheapest way. That's the only thing they can afford.
Yeah.
And they can afford to buy a small camper and move it on site and pay, $150 a month, $200 a month for a lot, and power and water and sewer.
Yeah, sometimes cables included.
Absolutely,
it can be a pretty good deal.
Absolutely. But that is the cheapest way that people are living now, and so that's why we're seeing them pop up, especially in the county. That would Gunnersville. I don't even think any of the cities would have zoning that would allow that, but because that's essentially a trailer park. But out in the county, you see that. You see it. There's one on Eddie Scant City Road. I mean, they're popping up all over the place. Not just in Alabama, not just in Marshall County. They're all over the place, and there are people permanently living there, and that's what people are forced to do because of this inflation issue.
I'm glad you said that. People are forced to do it because I think maybe that is kind of what can drive this. What can kind of, steer this in the right direction is consumer response to it, right? I mean, when people see surge pricing at a particular restaurant, they decide not to go there anymore. I think that says a lot, doesn't it?
It does. It does. And I mean, that's the whole notion of a capitalistic economy.
Yeah.
Is that, okay, we have the power over that. And, probably one of the things, and I didn't delve that far into the article about Joanne fashion, but if they were having to raise their prices on their clothing to such a level that people found it just unreasonable to buy from them, well, that drives them into bankruptcy.
Right.
And, it works both ways, and the consumer can control things if they're allowed to. Now, if they're forced to do it, by government regulations, or, kind of like, we're seeing in places like California, getting rid of all petroleum-based vehicles by 2030.
Yeah.
When the government controls it, that's when things go awry. And, but, that's politics.
Gotcha. Hey, let me tell you something I noticed just yesterday. I was at Walmart in Arab, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're going through this whole renovation, and they've made the inside of that store look just completely different now.
Yep.
But I've noticed that they've done a lot of different things with their registers. They have put in even more of the self-checkouts. But yesterday, we were there, and there were 2 employees that were kind of in charge of overseeing 8 of these registers. Yeah. They had 4 other ones that were lit up green, but they had a line across them, a rope across them saying, please don't use these.
Yeah.
And I understand why, because you got 2 employees that are now like in charge of 12 different registers. There's no way that's sustainable.
No, it's not. And I think a lot of stores are realizing that this self-checkout thing is not working.
Yeah.
There's too much abuse. There's too much. It's too easy for people to shoplift.
Yeah.
And just add stuff to their cart and not pay for all of it. 2 people can't watch a dozen or more self-checkout places, self-checkout things.
Now they call that shrink, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they do. And shrink is a number of things in the retail world. It's not just theft, but it can be as simple as some milk went bad, so they had to throw it out.
Okay.
Or eggs or whatever.
Or they've got a problem with a freezer or something. And all the stuff in that, they have to throw it away, get it fixed, and get new product. I got you. Okay.
Yes. So it can take on a number of things. It can also be theft by employees. I had a friend whose wife worked at a Kmart in the Birmingham area, I think in Bessemer, and she used to say that there was as much stuff walked out the back doors as it went out the front door.
Wow.
And that they had some employees, and there was really nothing they could do about it. I mean, it just happened. And especially when you get into states that are allowing stuff like that, and theft, where they're not going to prosecute unless they steal more than $900.
Right.
That is not sustainable, and that's why you will not find a CVS. You will not find a lot of certain retailers in the San Francisco area, or at least in the downtown area. It's crazy.
There's no protection for them. There's no security. I mean, their product's going to walk out the door. They have no power to do anything about it.
What's their motivation to even be in that area?
Exactly.
If they're not going to make money off of
it.
And, people try to discount that, but that is, again, back to capitalism. Mm-hmm. If they have the motivation to make money for their stockholders, essentially, which is what it all boils down to, by doing what they do, selling products that people want at prices they can afford, if they're not able to do that, they will get out.
Right.
And they'll either go bankrupt or they'll just pull out of that area because of the way things are there.
Yeah. I know that so many of us are just trying to stretch a dollar these days, and it's becoming harder and harder to do that. Matt, what are some strategies we can use to kind of help stretch that dollar a little bit?
Well, I think, being thoughtful and intentional about what you do and what you buy, figuring ways to do more with less. I know in our house, we don't eat out as much as we used to. We used to eat out a lot.
Yeah.
Especially when we first became empty nesters, and it was just me and my wife.
Freedom.
And it was like,
don't have to
hey,
cook.
we don't have to cook tonight. Let's just go out.
Yeah.
And we don't do that as much because it is more expensive, and I can cook a meal. We can cook a meal a lot cheaper than going out to dinner.
So inconvenient. You're so tired. You don't want to cook, but
Yep.
sometimes it's just the best option.
It is.
I was there
It is.
last night cooking spaghetti.
Yep. Spaghetti's a good old classic, a good old easy one that we all learned in college.
Yeah, exactly. And guess what I have for lunch today?
What's that?
Leftover
spaghetti. Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
All trying to stretch $1. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, Matt, I thank you so much for carving
Absolutely.
out some time for us.
Absolutely.
And I always want to give you the floor, too, to talk with us about things that are going on right here in our community, because I know you've got a lot of things,
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
projects going on. So,
Yeah.
can you fill us in on some of that?
Well, there's some good things going on right now.
Yeah?
I mean, if you just look around Marshall County, you see there is new retail still going up. There's new manufacturing going up. We've landed several new businesses in Connors Island that'll be coming online soon.
Nice.
We've got one closing pending. We have a major prospect that I've been working with for over 10 years. Can't get into who it is and what they do, but they already have a small presence in Marshall County, but they're a huge company, a Japanese company.
Okay.
I've been working with these guys, and I am told their CEO will be here from Japan in May.
Wow.
And I'll be meeting with them and hopefully closing the deal on a new company that would go out at Connors Island in Gunnersville, and it would be a big one. It'll be a big one for us. So, there's things we're working towards to get ourselves in these positions right now. If they had come to us a year ago and said we're ready to go, we couldn't have put them out there because of some issues that with TVA. They couldn't supply the power this company's going to need, but
Wow.
they're building a new substation in Claysville, and it'll come online in October. If this company announced tomorrow, they wouldn't be able to have it constructed and ready to go online for at least a year.
Yeah.
So we'll be good. We'll be good to go when we have that new substation. But yeah, I mean, there's good things. I mean, I tell you, I talk to a lot of my colleagues, and we do a bunch of us do a roundtable discussion about every quarter, just talking about what's going on and how people are doing, and how's it going in your community, and how's it going in your community. And last time I was on that, it was a lot of more rural communities that were on that Zoom call, and they were all excited about, hey, I've got this new. We've got this new Dollar General that's going out here, and we're all excited. This will be our third Dollar General. Like, we've probably got at least a dozen.
I think I know where that Dollar General's going to. It's having to be in Union Grove. There's a brand new one going up over there.
Oh, is there?
There
See, I
is.
didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I didn't even know
They've
that.
got one just across the street from Cherokee Ridge, just down the road too.
Yeah.
It's like these things are popping up like crazy.
But I mean, I'm sitting there and I'm telling about things like, well, man, the harbor had a great year. It was over $1 million in sales taxes for Gunnersville. I mean, I'm talking about Sand Mountain Park is bringing in thousands of people, for ball tournaments and things like that.
Concert venue, all that stuff, man.
Concerts, great,
it's amazing.
And they're excited because they get a new Dollar General.
Yeah.
So I have to take that into context when I'm frustrated about something or something's not going my way, and I just go, we live in a good county. We live in a good community. We've got good people. We've got good leadership. We've got some great industry here, great employers. They're growing, for the most part. They still have a hard time finding laborers, finding workers. But that's universal right now.
Right.
And I think that's unfortunate. That's a topic for another show. I could talk to you all day about that.
Right.
But all in all, Marshall County is doing great, and we've got a great community and great people.
Awesome. Well, Matt, thank you so much for carving out some time.
Absolutely, Stephen.
I really appreciate it. We're going to have to make this like maybe a monthly thing.
That'd be fine.
Yeah.
There's always stuff to talk about.
Because, I mean, everybody feels it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The economic side of things, whether it's hurting the wallet or it's helping you out a little bit. And I know a lot of people really excited that this is tax season, going to get a refund, hopefully.
Hopefully.
A little breath, actually be able to breathe a little.
Yeah.
So, but thank you so much.
Yeah,
man.
absolutely, Stephen. Anytime.
How can we keep in touch with you? How can we keep our eyes on what you guys are doing?
We've best way to see what we're doing and what's going on, what we're involved in, is our Facebook page. It's Marshall County Economic Development Council. We've also got a website, but it's more informational. But the Facebook page is where we kind of discuss, we kind of post out there about things that we're doing, things that are positive in the community.
Yeah.
When we work with a company for an expansion, or a company lands a great contract to build something or something. We'll post things like that on there, and it gets a lot of views, and it gets people excited about great things going on here.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
So we'll have to be checking that out on
Absolutely.
the daily, making sure we're seeing all the good stuff happening. And next time, I mean, there's no telling what we're going to talk about.
Who knows?
Maybe we'll talk a little bit about finding those employees.
Absolutely.
Because that is definitely a hard time.
I'll bring in my director of workforce development.
Hey.
Laura Braswell. She can really get it.
All right.
You won't get her out of here talking about that.
Meet a new member of the team there.
Absolutely.
Somebody we haven't seen before.
Absolutely.
Very cool, man. Well, thank you so much. We'll get back to the music, and
All right,
you
brother.
have an awesome day.
You too, my friend.
All right.
See ya.
Here's for King and Country with Together, right here on the Lifeline. Just a few minutes ago, we had Matt Arnold in studio talking with us about all things economic. And we were talking about, things that have really been hitting in the news here lately. Whether it's, I don't know, maybe inflation, maybe you've heard of Shrink, all those self-checkout lanes possibly going away. Some other places say, hey, we're going to make it a subscription thing. So you can be a member here at the store and you can use these. Oh, okay, well, good luck with that, right? But all these different topics that have really been swirling around here lately, Matt was able to kind of make some sense out of all of them. And I'm so thankful that he carved some time out for us this morning to do that. And in case you missed that interview, of course, you can catch it over on our socials. We did it live there as well on Facebook, over on YouTube, and on Twitter. Plus, it'll be on the podcast after the show. But I know that you were listening during that interview. And for those of you who have been trying to stretch a dollar, well, I'm so thankful that you're willing to share with me how you're doing it. In fact, I got a call about just that. Here, take a listen to this. I thought this was so cool. 88.5 JFM, good morning.
Good morning, Stephen. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm good. I was just listening to your Marshall County economics guy that was on. That was really awesome. Enjoyed that. Glad he took the time out to do that today. But something that we've been doing in our family is shopping thrift stores. We've been going to the Shepherd's Cove and then the Downtown Rescue Mission. And, those also help other people when we do things like that. I know the Karen Hart thrift store there in Arab.
Mm-hmm.
They have lots of great things just, that would help. I know some of them, help feed the hungry. Some of them help animal rescue or whatever. But I have found some really, really awesome things. I think I'm saying this right. I'm not into the big thing with kids nowadays as far as clothing, but the Lululemon or whatever, I found some pants in there for Gracie a couple of weeks ago. And they're like $4. And so I was
That's
like,
a
wow,
win
Gracie.
right there.
Yes, this will probably be the only pair of these you own, but hey, here you go. We found them at the thrift store today. And I don't know if you've heard of the Judy Blues.
I have.
A lot of ladies are loving those. I found a pair of those shorts there also for like $5. And so I've been finding some really good things, some new Nike tennis shoes for $10. I mean, just, things like that. And I know that that's definitely helped me, with things being much higher nowadays, when we go from season to season and our little kids grow, from season to season, that saves. I mean, I walk out there, I've spent $60 and I have 3 huge bags of stuff, And so that's definitely where I have been trying to save a little in our family is thrift shopping,
Yeah.
I guess you would say. I know I even found the cutest Easter basket the other day at the Shepherd's Cove thrift store there in Abertville. It's a big pig, and it's the fuzziest thing, and I can't wait to give that to Gracie May for Easter because it's like, oh, this is the cutest Easter basket,
Yeah.
And I just kept going back and looking at it and thinking, I I really need to get that. But, you know, we RV full time, so I don't have a whole lot of extra room, but I was just like, oh man, I've got to get it. So I ended up getting it anyways, but you can really find some good things. They have like the Easter eggs and the grass to put in the baskets and, you know, just things like that you can really save on versus going to a retail store and paying full price for them.
Right.
Another thing that I've been doing is I have a friend that does the coupon thing on Saturdays at Dollar General. So I've downloaded that coupon app, and I've been getting my dish detergent, laundry detergent, and all that on Saturdays, you know, to be able to save that extra.
Right.
And, you know, it's just every little bit helps, you know, if you continue the pattern, you know, it really does help. So I was just listening to him talk this morning, and I thought, you know what, this is what I've been doing, in which he said, you know, they're eating out less. I went through the drive-thru yesterday and got me a wrap combo meal. It was like $12, and I was like, holy snap, you know, this has gone up so much.
Yeah.
And it you know, which I know the good Lord's going to see us through it, and I'm proud of his faithfulness, and I don't worry about things because he is going to take care of us. I mean, and it's okay for us to eat beans and taters like we did back in the day, you know.
Right.
And so, I just really enjoyed his little talk this morning, and I appreciate you for all you do, and I just thought I'd throw it out there.
Wow. So thank you so much for listening. Thanks for your comments, and I'll tell Matt you really enjoyed what he had to say.
Yes, well, thank you so much, and you have a very blessed, it's going to be a pretty sunshiny day.
Yes, it is. If it just warm up, it'd be okay.
Yes.
That was so much fun. But I love what she said there about how she's so thankful that God is providing. And that's the thing about it. That's the hope that we have, isn't it? That even though we do have these really high prices, even though things are more and more expensive, somehow God finds a way to make a way where there seems to be no way. And I don't know how he does it, but I know he's perfect at it. And I'm so thankful for his provision. He is our source and our supply. That's one thing we have to remember, that he is going to make that way where it doesn't seem like there's going to be a way. Right? That's our faith today. And that's worth talking about. So thank you so much for hanging out with me right here on the Lifeline Morning Show. All right, we got some more music. Got an hour of show left. What are we going to talk about? Stick around. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Around here, the Carline competition is kind of a big deal. We have a lot of fun every weekday morning at 7 o'clock, right? Giving away some gift cards. It's a trivia game. It's a whole lot of fun. But there's this one kid who plays from time to time. His name is Montgomery Hodges. And it had been a little while since I had talked with him. Well, when I heard Montgomery's voice after that long break, he didn't sound the same. No, his voice had dropped. He sounded like a man now. And I'm like, what happened to you? He said, puberty. I'm like, well, that's true. But hey, I wonder, what about puberty? Do you hit it a second time later in life? Believe it or not, I found a lady who says, yes, you actually do. So be here to hear all the details about that kind of puberty coming up here on the show. It's going to make you chuckle. Okay, I hope you're ready to get real because we got a little something to talk about. This is something that affects so many people. You might be going through it right now, but I've never heard it put quite like this before. You see, this lady, she caught my attention. She goes by actually Meg McKenzie over on TikTok, and here's a little something of what she's going through right now and see if maybe you can relate.
So I'm in puberty. Yeah, recently found out that I am in puberty. Oh no, not that puberty. Midlife puberty. Yeah, it's a thing. Evidently, our 40s are the puberty of midlife as our body is adjusting, right? So our hormones are all out of whack. Wonky skin issues going on. We have got hair growing in parts of our body that did not grow hair before. No. All we want to do is stay in bed, and instead of our period starting, it is now stopping, which, as it turns out, is even more horrific than when it started. And this time, you don't get out of gym because of it. So yeah, puberty of midlife. So I'm sharing this with you just in case you are also in the puberty of midlife. I see you. I am with you. I am you. And if you have made it through midlife puberty, what's it like on the other side?
Y'all, these comments are golden. Absolutely golden. I've got to read a few of them to you. One person says, this is perimenopause. Simply stated, it's awful, she said. Another says, just over 50, and it gets way better on the other side. Just hold on and know you are not crazy. To which she responded, love hearing this. I love this one. This one really got me. She says, 50. And for some reason, I've turned into a feral, hormonal teen that only thinks... let's just hold off the rest of that one. Basically, the feral stage. It's hilarious. Sassy says this, went through it, now I'm just feral. I say things and don't regret it. 52 here. She says, oh, I can't wait till I get to the feral stage. Who am I kidding? I'm practically there. So there you go. Some of you listening, you're like, yep, been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and then it was crazy, but better on the other side. Others are like, what am I about to get into? I know. This whole thing about your changing body is really strange. It is for me. I've noticed changes in my own body lately. Like in the past few months, I found out I had high blood pressure. That came out of nowhere. I've never had a problem with blood pressure before. But things happen as you get older. It's one of those things we got to learn to live with. But we can have a little humor about it, can't we? Yeah? Thanks for hanging out with me right here on the Lifeline Morning Show. All right, more great music headed your way. I got Elevation Worship with Rattle right now. And if you want to see more of her video, again, I found her over on TikTok. Again, her handle is actually Meg McKenzie. That's how you can find that video and all the comments. There are like 903 comments. It struck a nerve. Right now across North Alabama, guess what? It is actually looking gorgeous. And the feeling part, that's the part we got to work on, because it's been like super cold this morning, but I'm so happy to report to you we have reached a milestone. All right. For instance, it's 37 degrees right now in Coleman, and it's 38 in Scottsboro. It's 39 in Bluntsville. And guess what? We just happen to be, kissing that 40-degree mark right here in Huntsville. Finally, it's been a long time coming, but we've got a little ways to go, though. Brad said maybe close to 60 degrees today. So, hey, we'll see how just fast we can warm up. But in the meantime, let me tell you who's bringing you your forecast. That is none other than Classic by the Lake Express Car Wash. They're a locally owned, locally operated, full-service family car wash and the home of the unlimited monthly wash plan. Nick Couch, the whole crew up there, do an amazing job, not just washing the outside, but even cleaning the inside. They can do details and all that stuff. Again, they're at the top of the mountain in Gunnersville, next door to Gunnersville Chevrolet. That's Classic by the Lake Express Car Wash. Now your word of life. Today it comes to you from Romans chapter 1, verse 16 in the New Living Translation of the Bible. And it says, "For I am not ashamed of this good news about Christ. It is the power of God at work, saving everyone who believes, the Jew first and also the Gentile." I'm so thankful for that one. How about you? Yeah? Hey, it's worth sharing, isn't it? Why don't you do that? We've got it ready for you across all of our socials, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, X, or Twitter, and TikTok. And it's always at the top of our website, 885jfm.com. Well, I just want to say a big shout out to those of you listening to us right now on the radio. Thank you for being here. On the stream, well, I can see you. I can see your pen at least. So let me talk about a few of these places I see you listening to us from. I've seen Louisville, Kentucky hanging out with us. Yep, you're there right now. We've got Pennsylvania hanging out. Not too far from Pittsburgh, actually. Thank you. Plus, Charlotte, North Carolina still hanging out with us this morning. And we've got listeners right here in North Alabama on the stream. Gunnersville, Arab, Boaz, and Albertville. Thank you for being here. And of course, our friends in Helsinki, Finland. Thanks for making us part of your day. Hey, tell you what, just in case you didn't know, I take the talking portions of this show and I put them together as a podcast. That's right. Even the Carline competition questions and answers, they're there as well. So if your little one was off to school and they got to answer the question, but they didn't get to hear themselves on the radio, well, you can totally go to that podcast and play it for them and let them hear themselves. It's really a lot of fun. So we've got all that. The talking segments, we'll have Matt Arnold's interview. He is the president and CEO of Marshall County Economic Development Council. He was here with me this morning at 8 o'clock, so you can hear that interview as well, and so much more. And if you like what you hear, would you subscribe there? It's on Spotify. Just type in Lifeline Morning Show podcast, and you'll find it right there. And share us with a friend. I'd greatly appreciate it. So 50 is the new 40, right? Yeah, I like to think that, right? Right now, I'm sitting at 41. I'll be 42 this year, so I'm getting on up there. I'm older than I've ever been. Some of you listening are like, You're still a child, Steven. Yeah, I guess I kind of am. I feel that way. Anyway, let's talk about that age. The aging process. Oh my. We've already talked a little bit with a little help from somebody earlier talking about that midlife, what'd she call it? Yeah, midlife puberty. Yeah, it was fun, wasn't it? Let's talk about some things that are getting older that maybe you've encountered, you've experienced, maybe some things that you've used before. Like the Post-it note. Guess what? It turns 50 years old this year. Yeah, it's back in 1974 when it finally came to popularity. Post-it notes. Original idea came from Spencer Silver. He accidentally developed an adhesive that struck the balance of being weak enough to separate papers without tearing while being strong enough to stick to an additional surface. But he and his company couldn't think of a practical way to market that adhesive. That's when Art Fry came into the picture, and thus the Post-it note was born. You still use those? Yeah? How about the Rubik's Cube? I bet you spent some time with Rubik's Cube. I have never figured that thing out myself. Nope, it turns 50 this year as well. The UPC barcode? 50. Yep. The Silver robotic arm. Oh, yeah, it's actually named after a guy whose name is Silver. David Silver invented what is now referred to as the Silver arm. He was at MIT, by the way. It was designed to simplify small part assembly and was equipped with touch sensors and the ability to provide tactical feedback, functions that were practically unheard of in robotics, and it paved the way for automated production. So there we go. How about the Heimlich maneuver? You know, when you go up and grab somebody who's choking and you start, doing the Heimlich. It's kind of a weird situation to be in, but the Heimlich maneuver? Yep, 1974. An article called Pop Goes the Cafe Coronary. That's a fun title, isn't it? And an article called Pop Goes the Cafe Coronary. The common response to choking was repeated strikes to the back. But the Heimlich maneuver started as a theory based on Henry Heimlich's observations in dogs and turned out to have a high success rate in preventing fatal choking episodes. So there you go. The Heimlich maneuver turns 50. Let's see what else. Connect 4. You ever played that game before? Yeah? Oh, this one. We should celebrate. Skittles. Skittles turns 50 this year. Oh my. Liposuction? Yes. It's expensive, isn't it? That's a great way to lose weight, I'd imagine. I don't know. Dayquil? I like that stuff, especially this time of the year. Whew, all those allergies. 50 years old. And finally, I think this is the one I'm going to end with. It is the Meow Mix jingle. Do you remember the Meow Mix jingle? Let us all recite it together. Meow, 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 meow. There we go. Good job. Yep, one word over and over again. It's so musical, isn't it? Thanks for hanging out with me here on the Lifeline Morning Show. Those things are turning 50. I don't know how old you are, but hey, like I said, I'm 41. I'm happy to be here. I'll keep getting older. It's okay. But I choose to feel like I'm in my 30s. Thank you. It's like I could hear you through the radio singing that song. You sound so good. You should be on the praise and worship team or in the choir at church. Come on. You need to share that gift with somebody. Hey, I tell you what. I want to tell you about Brian Trent. Now, you've probably heard me mention him before. He's a pastor from Hampton, South Carolina at the Lighthouse Church out there. He and his family are always on the socials posting amazing content. And when I find some good stuff from him, I like to share it with you. And we've been going through this Bible study he's been doing, these devotionals. It's 21 days. And let me tell you something. It gets better every single day. And here is today's. Take a listen. See what you think about this.
So how much does it cost to feed 5,000 people anyways? Welcome to day 6 of our 21 days together in the book of John. Today we're looking at that miracle, the feeding of the 5,000 in John chapter 6. But I think there's a couple of things in there that we may overlook easily that God wants to use to encourage me and you today. The first one is something I overlooked for years, and then when I finally caught it, I was like, why is that in there? John writes, well, the place they were at was grassy, and then they sat down. Well, why does that matter? Bro, like, there's a miracle going on. There's a fish, and there's loaves, and there's a little boy, and there's Jesus, and there's a miracle, and there's 5,000, and all this stuff. And you telling me it's grassy? Why does that matter? Well, here's why it matters. Because God is a God of details that provides in areas that we didn't even know that we needed a provision in. And not only that, but when God provided them a grassy place to sit in, they also were able to comfortably sit and not just eat, but eat until they were full. Scripture says they did. But while they're eating, there's something going on that the scripture doesn't say. They're connecting with other people. They're making new friends. There's a community here of people. And community is very important to God because he wants us in unity. But you know, there's something else that strikes me about this story, is there's this Old Testament scripture that you know in Psalm 23, where it says, he makes me to lie down in, what? A dirt pile? No. A mud pile? A rock pile? No. Green pastures. You see, God is so detailed and God's concerned about your well-being that he wants to give you that place that's comfortable enough for you to receive the things that he has provided. And see, that's a beautiful thing. And you know, in Psalm 23, it also says that he prepares a table. What? Wait a second. You telling me Psalm 23 and John 6, they sound a lot alike, don't they? It's almost like God knows what he's doing. Who knew? But you know, there's something else in there. Because if we were to have this issue, say, at our church, and you came out to the field beside our church, and we had 5,000 people. Well, it wasn't just 5,000 people, though. It was 5,000 men. That include women and children, so we could easily say it was 15,000 people. Perhaps maybe way more. But let's be conservative and say it's 15,000 people. And you showed up all at one time, we'd say, okay, somebody got to go run and get some bread. And so we would need at least 5,000 loaves of bread, right? And if we did that on the cheap end, we're probably looking at $15,000 for that. And then we got 15,000 cans of tuna, because I don't know what other way we could serve it up. And that would be at least $1 a can, so $15,000. So we're at $30,000. Pastor Brian, why does the dollar amount matter? It doesn't matter. Well, you know, the dollar amount doesn't matter. What matters is that you and I will see that God will always provide in the place that he leads us to. See, a lot of us are struggling and praying and stressing over God's provision. But instead of praying for God's provision, what we should do is pray for God's direction. Because when we go the direction that God wants us to go, we'll find God's favor. We'll find God's provision in the place that he's calling us to. I see it over and over and over in scripture throughout the Old Testament, the New Testament, and even today. See, just like a friend of mine who's a pastor, years ago, their church was exploding in growth, and their church is huge now. But their church was, they were knocking it out. They were such a good church in their community. They were loving Jesus. They were a kingdom church. They were everything that you would think a church would be, it should be, according to Scripture. And they were growing and growing and growing to the point they couldn't hold everybody. So they had some extra property right next to the property they were at. And they were like, well, this is no brainer. We're just going to build on. We just need a few extra funds. And so we'll start a building campaign. And they did. Said it was no brainer. It's simple. Well, he said that campaign went over like a sack of bricks. It was horrible. He said, I was like, this is crazy. It's such a simple thing. It's a great idea. He said, it's like cut and dry. But he said, in all that, you know what we forgot to do? We forgot to ask God what he thought. And he said, wow. And when we started praying and seeking God, God led us to another location that we would have never dreamed of. And we found out that as we started going the direction God wanted us to go, that the provisions were already there. The favor was already there. They stopped going the way that made sense, and they started going the way that God said to go. And now God has put their church in a position to do what they were doing, except on a much bigger scale. Because when we're faithful with little, God gives us more. Be encouraged today. Love you guys.
Wow, how good was that? Oh, these have been so much fun. And you can find him over on the socials. I found him on TikTok myself. All you have to do is type in Trent Tribe, and you'll find him and his family. They have content like every single day, and it's always good. So again, Brian Trent Tribe over on the socials. All right, well, the time has come for me to bid you adieu. But before I do, I want to share with you a very inspiring quote. You might even say it is the inspiring quote of the day. You see how I did that? It's just become more and more of a poem here lately. Anyway, let's get to it, shall we? Alfred Adler said this: the chief danger in life is that you may take too many precautions. Wow, how true that is. I told you the story earlier, but in case you weren't here, we've been going to the skating rink a lot more here lately. My daughter loves going to the skating rink. And so we went on Saturday. And while we were out there, I saw these kids who were learning how to skate. right? And they've got their roller skates on, but in front of them they have this PVC walker. It looks like like an old person's walker, right? Except it's made out of PVC pipes. It's got rollers on the bottom, so it rolls around the rink. They hold on to it so they don't fall. But the whole time I'm seeing them do this, it's like, hey, you're not really learning how to skate. You're learning how to push that thing across the floor. So they're not developing the skills that they need. They're not finding their center of gravity. They're not developing that balance, right? That's going to help them. So I think maybe it hurts them more than it helps. And why is it done that way? Out of a fear of falling. It's one of the sureties of going skating. You're going to fall at one point or another. It happens. But you can't be so scared of falling that you, well, keep yourself from learning how to do it properly. You know what I mean? So apply that to your own life. How can you see where you've been taking too many precautions? Yeah. Let's stretch it out a little further. How many times have you seen that you've been doing stuff aside from what God has called you to do about it? Ooh, that kind of goes with what Brian was just talking about. You know, sometimes we act before we ask God what his opinion is of it, and we can get ourselves in some weird situations. But if we keep everything in prayer and keep him in the middle of that conversation, he's going to keep us safe even in the scariest circumstances. So remember that today, okay? All right, well, hey, that's going to wrap it up for me. I have so enjoyed hanging out with you. The Carline competition was a blast. Again, a big thank you to Matt Arnold for carving out some time for us this morning. If you missed that interview, you need to go check it out. It's over on the socials, and it will be up on our podcast at 10:15 this morning on Spotify. Just type in Lifeline Morning Show podcast there. Sound good? All right. Well, I guess let's do this thing again tomorrow. Now, hopefully, it'll be a little bit warmer. I think we could all agree that it needs to be warmer on the first day of spring, right? All right, then. Well, hey, thank you so much again for making us part of your day. I hope you have the best day ever, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow from 6 to 10.